So you're ready to teach internationally. You're heading off overseas, looking for that dream international teaching job that will allow you to explore the world and have lots and lots of adventure teaching amazing kids. Or maybe you're just moving on from your current international job and you need to decide what's the process that you're going to go through in order to find your next position. The thing is, you need to consider which recruitment agencies you're going to work with. The difference could be huge. It could be the difference between landing that dream job you've always been looking for or having months and months of dead ends, frustrations, and getting nowhere. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the process that I would go through, and I'm going to actually focus on two specific international teacher recruitment agencies and why I think they could be just the right ones for you. All right, let's go. So the list is long, and it's getting longer in terms of the number of recruitment agencies that are out there promising to find that job for you. And they vary in experience, in quality, in regional support, and all of these things. So why do I recommend these two specific ones? Well, let's get started with the big dog, the market leader, and that's Search Associates. So nearly 800 vetted schools on their database. They're spread across 125 countries. You could consider Search the gatekeeper of the premium international school market. The system is built on rigorous vetting, and that means vetting of both schools as well as teachers. So it means that when they recommend a teacher for a job, they're listened to because the schools themselves know that they've gone through this rigorous process. It takes a fair bit to get your registration active and therefore to be able to have access to their database. And that's because there's lots and lots of vetting regarding things like confidential references that must come from the head of school, numerous police checks. So all of these things, this sort of vetting does make them the gatekeeper of those very top international schools. And so if that's what you're targeting, that's why Search has a bit of a competitive advantage over some of its competition. There is an associate assigned to each teacher, and there is personal support provided from experienced former administrators that really know how this system works. So they can offer you great advice for when you get offered a job. They can tell you whether it's the right one for you. They can tell you everything that there is possible to know about the school, and they can really give you some great advice. I've really benefited greatly from my associate who has advised me on which particular jobs to consider, which ones to accept, and which ones to steer clear of. The other thing is the recruitment fairs. So they hold these very high profile, huge events, sort of run across 3 days all around the world. And this is where you get to have one-on-one interviews with administrators from dozens of schools that you line up in advance, and you go through this whole round of interviews throughout the weekend. And there's a very good chance that by the end, you will walk away with a job from this fair. Now, it's a premium service and it comes at a little bit of a price. At the moment, the registration fee for Search Associates is $100 US. And that's actually come down quite a lot in recent years. So you do have to pay. It doesn't guarantee you a job, but it does guarantee you entry to one recruitment fair. If you want to attend additional recruitment fairs, maybe it doesn't work out on the first attempt and you want to go to a different fair, then you'll have to pay for that. But you do get to one recruitment fair, assuming that you're invited, assuming that you have selected the right fair and that your associate believes that it's the right fair for you. He'll provide or she will provide an invitation, and that gets you to that fair. What I'd like to do now is just have a little bit of a look through their website so I can kind of help you understand how you would go through this process and what they're going to offer you. Okay, so here we are in the Search Associates website, and this is the dashboard. So there's a few things that you can see here to start with. The first thing you'll notice is that my progress here is 75% complete, and that's because I haven't completed the process of sort of activating my registration just yet. And the reason I haven't done that is because I haven't decided if I'm going to leave my current position, and so therefore I obviously haven't told my administrators, my bosses here, and so I haven't sought out confidential references. So my profile will be complete as soon as I add to my list of confidential references, and I need to have a reference from my current head of school as well as my current principal. Okay, so you can see here I've got 10 completed references. These are from past jobs, past positions. 0 requested references tells me that I haven't requested any. I'm not waiting for any just yet. Now, already I can actually see there are 21 matches for my profile for jobs, and this has been updated in the past week. Now, it's only August. I've only been back at work for 3 weeks now. So I'm a little way away from making any kind of decision, and there aren't very many jobs out there at this stage, but those jobs will start sort of piling into this database anytime after the end of September, moving into October. So you can see some of the things that I've had to do. I've put in an application, I've put forward the demographics, the locations of where I'm prepared to teach. There's an agreement there, some confidential questions, contractual obligations. This is the reference section that I haven't completed yet. My resume is in there, and I haven't paid the registration fee. I'll pay the registration fee once I've provided my references and they say all is good to go ahead. And that's why my status is pending. There is my associate. My associate is Jez Hayden, and I work well with Jez because he actually gave me a job when he was the head of school at a school in China where I moved to. The other things that I can do here, and of course you won't be able to see a lot of it, what I can do is go to a job search here, and it won't work yet, but I can browse schools. I can look at applications that have already been submitted. I can save my favorite schools and find out a lot of information about them. I can click on here, permission denied, so I won't be able to go in there just yet. But I can look at the job fairs. I haven't registered for any fairs, but I can browse the fairs that will take place. And you can see that this is the huge advantage of Search Associates, that they run these big events, very high profile events in various places, and target at different types of teachers. So for example, the one in Melbourne, I believe, is more for new teachers from Australia who are considering heading abroad. The one in Singapore here in November is quite early. That's a teacher and leadership fair. This one here is in Bangkok. So if I do decide to move on, I'll definitely attend that one because I live in Bangkok. This is a big one, and I previously got a job from this fair back in 2011, I think it was. That got me my job and my move to Hong Kong. Hong Kong also has some fairs. The thing is that each fair is a little bit different in terms of the schools that we will be attending. And before the fair, you get to see the list of all the schools. You can see there's fairs in London, in US, in Canada, Dubai, and this is very early on. So there'll be many more fairs added to this list. And this is where you request an invitation, and your associate will decide whether that's the right fair for you in their opinion. Okay, so there's lots of other things in here, but the main thing will be once this is activated, I will get to search the whole database and I'll see the jobs that come up. I'll get advice from Jez. I'll have a whole sort of guide on how to go about approaching the schools and how to send my application. And then there'll be an option of whether I arrange interviews online through Skype or whether it's Google Meet or something else, or whether I attend a recruitment fair because that's the preference of the school. In many cases, schools would prefer the in-person recruitment fair. In other situations, it might be more convenient to have an online interview. So that's Search Associates. I've got a couple of messages there I better check. But that's Search Associates. As I said, it's the big one. And at the moment, I can't show you everything that's in there. If I do decide to activate and decide that I'm moving on, I'll make another video and I'll actually go in and I'll show you all the job postings that relate to my particular area of interest. So I'm looking at possibly jobs related to teaching of business and economics. I teach also humanities or individuals and societies. I might look at admin jobs. I've previously been a IB diploma coordinator, so I could look at those things. But I've got some other positions that I would be interested in looking towards as well. So that is Search Associates. Let's now move on to my second choice, and one that I believe is also a really good option for you, especially for new teachers, and that is Teacher Horizons. So let's go and have a look at Teacher Horizons. Okay, let's now look at Teacher Horizons. So this is one of the newer entrants into the international teacher recruitment market, and I have worked with them previously. I am registered with them at the moment, and I guess some of the key differences. So the first thing is it's free, right? So you don't quite know whether it's worth spending money sometimes for these things. So let's just say you're a new international teacher, or you're considering becoming a new international teacher. You know there are all of these options, all these choices, all these job boards, all those recruitment agency names that I've mentioned before. So you may feel that paying is sort of not really beneficial, not really worth it. And especially if you're not targeting those top tier schools, those top tier jobs, and you just want to get your foot in the door. So you might want to sort of look at all of them, and getting started with Teacher Horizons is a great idea, I personally believe. It's free, and it does offer that database and that sort of portal whereby you can search schools. It also offers you personal support, advice, recommendations where where you're working with people who will recommend you and direct you to the schools and provide you with advice as to how to go about the whole application, and also advice in terms of acceptance of jobs, contracts, and those kinds of things as well. It's a great, easy to use database. It's an easy to use website, I should say. So that selling point, I suppose, the fact that it's free is really, really good. And of course, it allows you to go in, and even if you have just started your sort of activating of your account, you can start searching for jobs, and you can see the real jobs that are out there. And I think this is really a great, appealing thing. I haven't been able to activate my search account just yet because I haven't got to that final stage, so I can't see any jobs. Whereas I can go right in now, and I'm going to show you in a minute what it looks like. I can go in there now and start searching for jobs straight away. So I think it's great. I've had, as I said, success. I worked with them previously. Through them, I was offered a job in Dubai. In the end, I didn't accept the job, but that was fine. The other thing I would say about Teacher Horizons is they may not have all of the top tier schools, but they certainly have many. But they have particular advantages in terms of the number of jobs that they're posting in particular regions. And this could be a huge benefit for new teachers, especially if you're looking at places like China, for example. So I happen to know that there's lots of jobs in schools in China because there are lots and lots of international schools, and Teacher Horizons have a whole lot of them there on their website. There are other areas as well where I've seen just more jobs in particular regions, whether it be Indonesia or Malaysia, whether it's the Emirates, for example, the Middle East. There are lots of places where I haven't necessarily seen as many jobs posted on search. Even if you're looking for, more, I guess, interesting places like Pakistan, for example, Saudi Arabia as well. So you might just find there's more variety. And I actually personally think that if you work with search and Teacher Horizons, you're pretty much covering all of your bases. So let's have a look at their website, and I'll explain what I mean by why it could be beneficial to use Teacher Horizons. Okay, so we're in the Teacher Horizons website, and you can see here that we've got these 3 tabs, so we can sort of discover in a few different ways. So schools can discover candidates, but for us, we can discover schools and we can discover jobs. So let's just look at schools just for a moment, shall we? And we'll just pick Asia, and we'll use that as an example. And what this does is shows us all of the schools that they've got on their database that are in Asia. So we've got 1,585. So I'm just going to scroll down and find one that I think might be interesting. Let me see here. I think we could go with UWC Southeast Asia. This is a great school in Singapore. I've got a couple of friends working there right now. It's awesome. And you can see the school profile. You can see a little bit about what the school looks like. You've got an overview. You've got the curriculum information, the size of the school, the population, the class sizes, things about the number of staff, turnover, things about the location of the campus, salary and benefits. Of course, you want to see this. So you can see this is a pretty good school, and they pay very well. You can see if there are vacancies. Probably very few vacancies at this time of the year, seeing as I'm making this video in August. But looking up the information about schools is a great thing to do. So I highly recommend that once you've got a bit of an idea of what types of schools you're looking for. The next thing that we could do, and what we're most likely to be doing first of all, is to actually search the jobs. And I can go back to search jobs or discover jobs. And again, we can pick subject areas. And so for me, I'm just going to pick economics. So I'm an economics and business teacher, and there won't be very many jobs because it's August. But there are 3 jobs there, one in France, one in Cambodia, one in Poland. And if I just remove the filter, I'll see that in total, they've got 276 international school jobs. And some of these jobs might be kind of emergency placements because the vacancy is brought about because maybe someone has changed their mind at the last minute, and so the vacancy needs to be filled quickly. Most schools are starting in August. There's one here where the job starts in September. But some schools actually work on a calendar from January to December. I did that once at a school previously, and it was quite familiar to me because in the Southern Hemisphere, in Australia, for example, that's just normal to work from January to December. But the majority of international schools are more from August to June, for example. And therefore, there won't be very many jobs really being posted until end of September, maybe October, and then November is when it really ramps up. So you go into these jobs here, and you can just pick one. Let's just pretend I'm a math teacher with GCSE experience, and I'm going to start working in this school in January. So this is SISB in Thailand. And so you can see what the vacancies are. You can see descriptions about the school related to obviously the job you're looking at, when you would start, how to apply, all sorts of information there. And you would get in touch, you would apply and express interest here, which puts you in touch with Teacher Horizons, and then they go through the whole process with you and support you in your application. So there you have it. That's sort of a little bit of a look at Teacher Horizons. It's really easy to navigate. I highly recommend it, especially for new teachers who are looking to do this for the first time. And even if you are also using search, because I do recommend you do both, in fact. If you have registered for search and you're still sort of a pending, your status is still pending because you've got to go through all the rigors of references and police checks, even while that is still becoming active, you can be looking here and looking at jobs that are already available, but through a website which is free. And so the good thing about Teacher Horizons, of course, is it is free. They don't provide you with those really exciting recruitment fairs that Search Associates does. So that's a little bit of a thing that's lacking, but that's why I recommend that you actually use both. You use both Search Associates and Teacher Horizons. So there you have it. Okay, so which one is best for you? As is often the case in answering that kind of question, it just depends. So personally, I'm going to go with both. I'm going to use Search Associates, but I'm also going to use Teacher Horizons just to cover more bases, to have a larger scope of possible jobs and countries and things to consider. And I really think that Teacher Horizons is great for a new teacher, but that doesn't mean that if you're prepared to invest a little bit, to pay the $100 fee, to target some of the higher priority schools, doesn't mean that you can't go with search as well. And especially if you are a pretty experienced teacher. Now, if you're moving on from one international job to another, probably Search Associates is the way to go. There are many others that you can choose from, but I prefer Search Associates. But it doesn't hurt to do what I'm doing and look at Teacher Horizons as well. I found a job through Teacher Horizons that wasn't listed with search, as far as I was aware at least. And so there definitely is an argument for going with both. For newbies, maybe Teacher Horizons gives you a greater opportunity, greater chances, but you've also got that personal thing that you might be looking for in terms of attending a recruitment fair. And I guess another recommendation is if you can line yourself up to go to a recruitment fair. Some people hate them, some people love them. I thought it was amazing. I've only gone to one, and I think I'd like to go to another one. It's pretty exciting, and there's a great chance that if you've been invited to one and you've lined up interviews, that you'll walk away with a job at the end of the fair. Probably find yourself signing a contract before you leave the hotel. So I would sum it up by saying go with both. Now, there are also other boards out there, and some jobs might just come up at particular ones that the school might make a decision to work with. Another one like Schroll, ISS, for example. So just keep an open mind, keep looking, but I would put most of my effort into Search Associates, keep an eye on Teacher Horizons as well. Now, I've put some resources in the description, so if you're a newbie, there are some great resources that I think are useful to you. Download them, they're free, and I'm going to keep adding resources like that. There's a timeline, there's a checklist, and there are some other guides there to help you in your job hunt. I hope they help you. If you got something out of this video, give it a like, subscribe if you want, and also drop a comment down below if you've used one of these agencies before, if you want to give me some pros and cons, or if you've got another one that you think's better. Let me know, drop a comment, and I'll see you in the next video.